Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Havoc and Styles P.
Introduce somebody's name, man. The group name.
What up?
Oh.
Wreckage Manor.
Thank you. Thank you. That feels good, see the guy.
Let's start from the beginning. How did you guys get together and say, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create this group.
You know what? One day I just woke up. I wanted to do a project with one of my favorite artists. Styles P was at the top of that list. You know what I'm saying? So I texted him up, hit him up. He was with it.
Hell yeah.
Sent him some music, and we just did the thing.
Did y'all have a relationship beforehand? Like, did y'all know each other, hit each other, or was it just in passing?
Definitely. We check in every couple months. We ain't been fishing or nothing like that, but I always definitely call it. What's funny is I was actually thinking about it later on during rest in peace to P, before P even passed me. Was speaking about you know, doing a couple joints. I definitely wanted to get some beats from him. He definitely produced on my sophomore album, so it's one of my favorite joints too. So you know, that's Hav, and he's cool, and he always we always bump into each other every so often. We kind of always live near each other, really.
What does Wreckage Manor mean?
Wreckage synonym for Havoc, Manor synonym for Styles, and we felt, you know.
Oh, clever.
How we was bringing what we was bringing, but we was bringing it in a different way.
Right.
And respect to our respective groups, Lox and Mobb Deep. He's a member of Mobb. I'm a member of Lox. We're gonna give you that, but it was in a manner we was gonna do it, and we felt like it was just gonna be real accurate hip hop. That gives you a Wreckage feeling, but with grace and style.
Yeah, some of the songs make you feel like doing some Wreckage.
Yeah, you know.
What influence did the Mobb have on the Lox?
Oh, for me, heavy. I always still have that. Like you say, when Hav called me, for me it's golden. Like, it's certain people you look at in hip hop and just, you know, it's kind of undescribable. I think hip hop gives you sort of an ego when you get in a game where you don't give each other the. I mean, now, thank God, the giving flowers culture is in, and that's pretty dope. That's really awesome. But I think before that, you always have an ego and kind of pride thing. But gratefully, like, as Lox real hip hop fans, we always kind of knew, like, if somebody came before you, pay that homage. Like, I remember, like, I tell Hav, I was still working a stock job, slinging, doing dirt, doing everything when, you know, when they was giving hope. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm always a huge fan. And this is before they was. We were fans of them before they were on, like, you know what I mean? While they was trying to get on, like, so, you know.
I feel like both of y'all groups were always the underdog at one time, whether it was Mobb Deep or whether it was the Lox. Why was that always? Because, I mean, y'all always lyrically nice, always had production. So why do you think that always was with both of y'all groups?
I mean, for me, you know, with Mobb Deep, I just think that, you know, at the time that my bad. I'm just waking up. But yeah, we always had a hard time trying to get on MTV. You know what I'm saying? Even with BET, they make us chop our video up so much till it wasn't even a video no more. You know what I mean? Y'all know the politics of it. So, you know, that just left us in a space that made us look like underdogs. You know what I mean? Even though we have records that went platinum and gold consistently. You know what I mean? So
when you look at some of your first videos and footage from performances, how many people are still with you from back then?
Oh man,
they used to run 100 deep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How many people?
100 deep. I only see 5 out there now.
Man, I would say like 1% all those people that was on stage. Like, you know, because we was kids back then. You know, people change, and you know, when you come in the game, you bring like 1,000 people with you just for that support. But then they mess everything up for you because they don't mean to. You know what I mean? But in a business sense, it's not good for business, you know what I mean? But your peoples mean well, you know what I mean? Because they just there to hold you down, but, you know, everybody rough around the edges.
So what advice would you give to artists now who are just coming out, they got all their peoples around, and even for the people that are around and are trying to, like, be an asset to an artist, what kind of advice would you give?
You just gave it, be an asset. I would tell an artist to tell an entourage, make sure you're an asset, not a liability. You're going to come on this road with me. And I think I give the younger generation credit for that. I think they utilize their entourage much more than our generation did. Like, our generation, nowadays you see a young artist entourage. I see someone, you know, I see the computer guy, I see the camera guy, I see the guy, you know, posting and all that. They usually come with that, and it's just they need a little more organization. Like they even come with the right stage presence. Like our generation, everybody just standing on the stage. Young people, depending on what it is, they're diving, throwing money, like, you know what I mean? So I think they're a little more advanced than our generation was in that. But just make sure you're doing it and leave the criminals for criminal activity. Like, you know what I mean? And I think a large part of a lot of artists really want to be gangsters, and it's cool if you really was a gangster and you're making it and you're making a way out, but I think it's a big misconception that gangsters still want to be gangsters. Gangsters want to.
This morning that was stuck. What was it? The Wolf line?
Oh, I said wolves don't make good house pets. But I was talking about people who like to play the street. Like, you know what I mean? I was actually talking about Ye right now. Yeah,
Kanye. That's a good point, because they don't. I mean, and a lot of people don't know. Sometimes you're a sheep standing right next to a wolf and you have no idea. And a lot of people, you know, they get in this thing, and you might just be at the club, you might just be talking crap, but you might be talking crap to the wrong.
Absolutely.
You might be just talking crap to the wrong dudes there's a lot of dudes willing to throw it away. And I think a lot of people in the industry don't realize that. Like, because even now, like, when the time we came out too, you couldn't walk around with $500,000 on if your reputation didn't solidify that you could walk around with $500,000 on. It's like, all right, I'm doing this because you know I could do this. And now it's like, I'm doing this, I'm lollygagging in the city, and you know, I'm talking crazy, and I'm not built like that. Don't do that. Just stay in your lane and stay where you at.
I was talking about, you know, the Kanye situation, because it's like, you know, you see him with the Jay Princes in the game and Beanie Siegel now, and then he's rapping about, you know, beating people up. And then I was thinking about what he said on Drink Champs about how he just used the backpackers. He ain't really rock with them. And I'm like, yo, if you're doing that with them street dudes, wolves don't make good house pets. You're going to learn that.
One thing, too, you got to understand all across the board, no matter what, whether it's gangsters or not, even just corporate wolves. Wolves are wolves. If you can't take advantage of certain people, because they're going to want to take advantage back of you.
That's right.
And then some people are letting you be there because they plan on taking advantage of you. That's the difference in where everybody, you got to know every day walking up, whatever circle you in, you got to know if you the sheep or the wolf.
Now, you mentioned something for both of y'all. Now, you talk about these young artists, you know, they're quick to throw it away for a lot of them. But both of y'all at one time was quick to throw it away.
I was the master of quick to throw it away. I was the pitcher.
I mean, even on the new,
the lead pitcher.
Even on this, you say if you don't got a gun. I might be quoting the line wrong. You said even if you don't got a gun, you got 2 blades on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Protection, eh?
Protection.
Yeah.
I'm a peaceful person. I strive for peace, but I'm a realistic person. I'm not gonna. I don't sit here. I'm on a quest, and I'm striving for peace. Old Styles is right there. Any given moment, anything happen, I'm not a turn the cheek other kind of dude. I'm not afraid to say, yo, I don't want this problem.
Right. You will have the confrontation.
Yeah, I'll tell you, dog, I don't want this problem. I will also tell you, do not confuse me saying I don't want the problem with I won't handle the problem. Like, that's a big difference, I think. But men should be men enough to be like, yo, dog, I'm 47. I ain't trying to ache tomorrow. I ain't trying to look for you. I ain't trying to ask your little homies where you at. I ain't trying to.
I've definitely had Styles have to step to somebody for me before in the juice bar.
Yeah, but just quietly.
Yeah,
like,
but it was nice.
Everything
it was respectful.
I do it. I'm not on no, yo, I'm like, you know, before it was more like, you know, now I'll approach you respectfully.
How did y'all both get to that point where it's like, you know what, I'm not doing this no more? Like when was that? Because you've done it a zillion and one times. You've done it a zillion and one times. When did it get to that point where it's like, you know what, I got to stop? Today is the day.
Getting locked up for something, you know what I mean, low key, and just seeing some of my peoples getting locked up, you know what I mean, and just thinking how easily I could just throw it away. You know what I mean? Just knowing that it's not worth it. You know, I don't have to do certain things just to be liked by people. You know, and staying away from a lot of people. You know what I mean? So,
mine was a quest for inner peace, really. Like you say, it was a time where as a rapper I never not had 2 guns on me. I was like, I can't just live like this every day, and it's not cool. And just you want to go somewhere and just be in peace. Like a lot of, you know, it don't sound like the coolest thing to say in hip-hop and the hip-hoppest thing to say, but you want to make it home to your family. You want to be in peace, and you want to have a good time at home, and you want to go outside and be able to decipher your worlds, because all of the people, that it's reputation and ego with me, too. A lot of it was ego and pride and sort of I guess, a little man complex. Like I came up rough before I got here, so it was like I'm not gonna get here and let none of y'all take advantage of me. So the ego and pride kick in, and then you start living and operating off that. For a lot of years, I operated off of that. Like, you know what I mean? So I really said it's kind of really just disturbing my inner peace, and I ain't really utilizing my other skills and mentalities and
Did y'all ever have to apologize for all the stuff that you've done? Because y'all both done.
Why are you making it seem like they're such criminals, man?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if I said it on you, you had it coming most likely. That's one thing I say.
Not for no
I've
reason.
always been a gentleman. I've never been no just knucklehead and did anything for a reputation. I probably went too far when something happened, but I've never been like a random troublemaker. That ain't never been alongside with my name. You never see me not come in and not be professional. Like if I get in the studio with anybody from back then, I come to do my job. I'm professional. I'm not talking crap to the engineers, the other artists, none of that. I come to do my job. I come to leave. Now, if I step outside and something go wrong and you kind of a cause of it, that's part of the jungle, and that's part of your past makes you who you are today. If I have offended someone and I was wrong and it was on me, while I'm on air, I humbly apologize. My fault, it's on me.
I mean, you know, I had to apologize a bunch of times. You know what I mean? You know, I had to apologize.
You had to clean some things up.
Yeah. I had to clean some things up. You know, even today, sometimes, you know, I got to.
You still apologize.
Yeah.
I saw in an interview you said that working with Styles reminded you of working with Prodigy. What was some of those similarities?
You know, they both, you know what I'm saying, know what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? When they want to do it, they adamant about it. They stick to their guns, you know. Prodigy was definitely like that, and serious about their craft. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's crazy, you know, working with him. It definitely reminded me of working with Prodigy, and it just kind of gave me the chills. You know, how the product came out and it was finished, because it just gave me that Mobb Deep feeling after the album was finished.
And you produced everything on here, right?
Yeah, I produced, you know, all the tracks on
So when you guys decide what tracks are gonna make it, or what he's gonna rhyme, what you guys are gonna rhyme on, is that a collaborative thing, or are you like, these are the tracks we're using? So
it's a collaborative thing.
It's definitely a collaborative thing.
You know, I'm the type of producer where, you know, I want to please the artist. You know what I mean? I don't try to lead them in any kind of way. I just want to hit them. If they don't like it, you know, it's no love lost. Okay, all right, let's do this over or whatever, you know?
You know, you're a very underrated producer, man. Like, you helped to craft a whole sound of a city. New York, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
In the 90s. But why you think you don't get mentioned with, like, the premieres and the RZAs?
You know, I really don't have no idea. Maybe because I'm low key as a person. I'm very humble as a person. So, you know, I don't go out there and toot my own horn, because sometimes if you don't toot your horn, ain't nobody gonna toot it for you. You know what I mean? But that's just me, you know what I'm saying, by default. You know what I'm saying? I'm just one of those laid back, low key.
He's definitely needs more credit as a producer, but also as a rapping producer during a golden era. Like, he's kind of the birth of a, you know, because it takes a lot of talent to do that. And he did it at a time where a lot of people weren't doing it, and those who weren't able to do it at a high level on both sides. Like, this is half of Mobb Deep. He rapped and produced the joint, so I think he doesn't get enough credit for that either. Like, he's the birth of, like, Kanye's and J. Cole's and, you know, part of it.
You think it's because of when you used to read the credits back in the day, it would say produced by Mobb Deep?
Yeah, so that happened on the first album, on the infamous album, and then after that, it was then on after it was produced by Havoc or whatever have you. But I think you know, I never touted myself as a producer, because, you know, I was rapping, so I don't think people, you know, correlated the two, and they just said, okay, he's the rapper, but Prodigy's the lead. You know what I mean? Because rightfully so, because he's just so ill as a MC. And it just kind of fell to the back.
People always thought that Mobb Deep had a problem with Big at one time.
Really?
But then you produced Last Day.
Yep.
And then what happened with
which the Locks was on?
Yeah, the Locks was on. Yeah. What happened with that beat?
My last day.
Yeah, so there was, you know, there was a story that where I did the beat for Puff. Puff came to me to do a track for Big. I did the track, and the reel got lost. You know what I mean? Puff was heated. You know what I mean? So I had to make the beat over. I made the beat over. X, Y, and Z, and, you know, that's the song you hear today. But like maybe like 2 years ago, I heard the original beat. Somebody found it, like it just mysteriously popped up.
That's crazy.
And I was like, wow. So I think somebody hit it.
You remember that session? Were y'all in all together?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
So I
remember him coming dropping the beat off on that. Actually, Primo just put a post up. That was when you know, the Life After Death making. So we would be in the little MIDI room in the back. So pretty much everybody who brought a beat to Big and Scene, we seen them coming in and out the studio. Like, you know what I mean? So it was a epic time to be around, to say the least.
So y'all all you was there with the vote while they was recording?
No, he wasn't there recording.
Oh, got you.
We seen him drop the beat off the Puff and Big.
Yeah, because you know in Daddy's house, they had like various rooms.
Yeah.
They'll be recorded, so.
I saw Puff was in the Survival of the Fittest video.
He was.
Yeah.
We was mad tight with Puff back in the days. You know what I mean? He came down to Queensbridge almost by himself. You know what I mean? And just popped up.
How much? I was gonna say how much do you make? How much sampled do they sample Shook Ones? How like is that one of the most sampled records that you own? And how much profit does that come? Because that record seems like. That's just one of those records. I don't care what party you in, whether it's old, young. When that beat drops, you know what it is immediately.
I would just say God bless Shook Ones. You know what I'm saying? Because
Smart answer. Envy trying to line somebody up for B&E.
How much do you make?
How much have you made? What? Come on, Envy.
Word. But yeah, Shook Ones, man, is them checks show up.
Now you both have done a lot of collaboration albums too. So what's the difference between? Do you feel like it's way better when you work in the studio with somebody? Because I know with modern technology, people send a track and then you put your verse on it, send it back. Is there a difference, or do you feel like, you know, in the studio together is where it's at?
We wasn't really in the studio together with this one, but it was weird. It was nostalgic for me because it was like working with the Locks in high school before we even like kind of made it. So he would send a track, I would lay the verse, send it to him, he hear it, and I call him over it, and we speak, say the vibe. So it was like, and I usually don't do that with people, but I got a rapport with him, like, you know what I mean? Like you said, we checking on each other here and there. Yeah. So it was more like, I was really amped, to be honest with you, because as soon as he sent the first beat, I was already locked in. Like,
what was the first beat?
Havoc and the Ghost.
Havoc and the Ghost. I think I went right to. I left my crib. I rolled up, took a shower, called the engineer, and I had the rhyme by the time I got to the studio.
Damn.
Word.
So we was off to the races.
I love move how we want to move, and I like in the hook you say we'll do this shit right in front of you, but we'll turn our back on your bitch ass. Could you please tell these youngins what that means?
Yeah, if I turn my back on you, I don't respect you. Like, I don't respect your authority, your strength. I don't even believe in what you're saying. I most likely believe you's a yellow belly coward that wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. You know what I mean? So I'll turn my back on you, like, do what you want to do. And not only that, like, as an artist, you have to be, and this is one for the young artists out there. Stand on who you say you are. That's why I say don't be somebody. Don't say you're a gangster. If you're not a gangster, there's no pride in that. If you're not be who you are and go there, because you're going to have to turn your back on a lot of people and stand on who you are and not be afraid when you're in these places. So that's kind of a two-way street. Like, I turn my back on you and do what I want to do. I'm out here moving.
Have you ever comfortably turned your back on someone? Because I feel like you can't sleep on nobody nowadays. Never, ever, really.
I've never comfortably turned my back on someone, and I've never not been scared in the altercation. I'm just scared to I think if you ever get Martin masked or somebody like really, I've been Martin masked. I've been Martin masked, dog. Like, serious. That's the part of who I am. Like, God bless my brother X. Niggas done started some 20 battered me when shattered me is not a phony line. That's a real life line. So you become scared to be the victim, which makes your ego and pride kick in more. So now after you take something harsh, you know you could take it. Then you know you built for it, then you know what you're built to do after. But anytime something happens, you're kind of edgy. Like, to this day, I'm edgy. Like, a lot of people think I'm a strike first. Like, if I have an idea that you're gonna harm me, I'm definitely gonna harm you first. Like, if it's in my gut that you come to harm me, I'm gonna make it my business to harm you first. And it's not cause, you know, due to whatever, the bars, the street, anything. It's just cause I know how it is to be on the losing side of things, and I'd rather not be on the losing side of things. I'd rather have the one up on the situation. Is why I stay peaceful, juicing, pharmacy for life, and juicing for life, and minding my business, keeping it moving, because, you know.
I feel like people nowadays are also scared because they also don't want it to be caught on camera, too. And
that's a big part of it. I mean, that's a big part of it. One, if you're a felon, which I'm a felon, you're a violent felon. If you get, you know, even if you're not a felon, it's like an automatic 3 if you get caught with a ratchet. So now if you're a violent felon, you're probably looking at like something like 10. There's cameras everywhere, and most likely a lot of people, like I said, saying they're gangsters and they're not. You do something around somebody, it don't even have to be a camera. They're a camera most of the time. They get caught up in a situation and they're gonna tell. So you just avoid it, man. And you can get more money selling T-shirts and merch and doing like, it's not even lit being a gangster no more. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it's not even fun. I don't even see the usage in it. Like
it's not practical.
Like, it's not practical. Like, even if you look, Bloods and Crips are making business moves now to get the stereotypical gangster is not what it used to be. Like, even like, you know, you can hear wise investment tips from a Blood and Crip now. If you're a young youth, like, duck it, dog. Like, duck it. Stay out the way, man.
And y'all do talk about investments and things like that. So what are some things outside of music that you have going on, since that is what we're about to now?
Man, you know, I just recently, not too long, within the past year, you know, I dived into real estate. You know what I mean? Envy, I got to talk to you. But, yeah, you know, that and, you know, a few other things, you know, because, you know, music is just, you learn it. Sometimes it's just a stepping stone to other moves that you got to make.
You think you'll always love it? Have you ever had a time where you were like, I'll do something else?
I think I always love music. I'll try to do it in some capacity. You know, however it is, something like that.
I can only imagine how it felt to lose Prodigy on a personal level, but on a professional level, did you feel like you lost a muse?
Definitely, absolutely. You know what I mean? Prodigy was one of the greats. You know what I mean? You know, every time he would come around, I just would smile. You know what I mean? Just him being in my presence, I couldn't help it. You know, I couldn't stay mad at him too long. You know, I definitely lost the muse. There'll never be nobody like him that I ever meet in my lifetime that will be like him. So that was a big loss.
I miss Mobb Deep on the verses, man. I would love to see Mobb Deep doing verses.
That would have been versus the
Yeah,
Locks.
that's one of the
versus the Locks.
That would have been crazy. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that, like, when you think about Prodigy not being here, you know, for me sometimes I'm like, damn, he never gonna be on stage with me again. You know what I mean? That's monumental for me. It's like I can't fathom it. And you know, things that come up like a verse, like, damn, why he not here? Like, you know, we'll, you know. It's just a lot that I miss.
Did it take away your love for music for a moment?
It didn't take away my love for music, but it definitely humbled me to the fact where I had to sit back and really reflect on, like, how I'm gonna move forward. You know, that's why it kind of took me a while to even do anything as far as projects is concerned since Prodigy passed.
And, you know, you real sharp lyrically on this too, Have. You know what I mean?
Thank
Especially, I love you on Pay Me in Cash.
That's what I said. You want to take off, call me to get back and wake up? Like, what the hell's going on here, Have? Usually it's the sacrificial lamb over here.
What do you think got you so sharp on this? Was it Styles?
Yeah, rhyming with Styles. Whenever I rhyme with another artist, you know, I prefer rhyming over other people's tracks than my own sometimes. But on this project, rhyming with Styles P, I was like, it just sharpened my knives real quick. Like, for real. I was like, nah, I got to step it up, and, you know, I got to be able to hang in there with the you know, top of the class. So that's what basically just sparked me.
What do you think caused New York to get away from that sound?
Money.
Yeah, there you go.
I tell you, money and the internet. It's a combination of things. Money, internet, and lack of leadership. Lack of effective leadership at the time. I mean, you got to think about it. Us in the 90s, we weren't financially taught how to even be stable with the money we were getting. Like, you know what I mean? We kids coming off the street selling crack, working stock jobs, praying, dreaming, until all of a sudden you shooting, you know, you're making $1 million a year, you're getting this car, that car is you're buying, like, you know, when I bought my first condo, I just knew buy a condo. You got some kind of money, you got a little money here, you got a little money there, just buy some real estate because my mom beat it in my head that you're going to do something with your money. So, but when you get that much money and you don't have, you know, all the outlets we have nowadays, it's kind of difficult to have leadership. So a lot of us were living lives that we never imagined in years. So you're not really, like even now to the day, not even being funny if you think about it, as a people, I hate to say it, but we still not thinking right as artists because nobody's really putting their money together and doing things together.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, I got more money than you. You got more money than me. I'm litter than you. My car's litter than you. What are you, like, and not to preach because I'm way more ghetto and harder than all of them. So I'm just being real. But what are y'all doing for the people? Like, you know what I'm saying? At some point, and I feel like I'm like that because I had been outside a little longer and refuse to let the money overcome me. I think people just forget about what we're really doing. Like I said, when I went to your show, like you see, I was really on awe. Like that's what it's about. Nah, this is black. You know what I'm saying? It was like here at home, like, yeah, like we on TV. Nah, this is black women in power. This is me. We doing it. We like, if you ain't thinking about who's coming behind you, what are you thinking about? And that's the we don't G check each other on that. Like, all right, homie, you lit, you fly. What the hell are you doing? Like, I'm, you know, and I can't judge because I've done worse
but it's one of those
things than all of them people, but I don't got to rock with you. Like, you know what I mean? I don't got to act like I admire you. You got so much money. Chip in with, you don't even got to chip in money. You could chip in with ideas and resources, just utilities to say, all right, let's help our people out and just, you know,
it's opening up more
because
when we were coming up, I think it was a lot more closed. We didn't know what the next person would do. I think it's opening up where people are starting to explain and break down how to do things and the procedure doing it. But I think he was talking about musically as far as New York. Like, where did New York...
Money.
That's what he was explaining,
Yeah, money in the industry. Because money makes you not really worry about what you holding on to, what's sacred to you. You start getting money and you start expanding. You start using South people sounds. You start trying to sound like them, walk like them. And then the internet made everyone's hood accessible to everyone. So we came up... We all sounded alike, but not alike. Queensbridge ain't gonna sound like Yonkers. They ain't gonna sound like Brooklyn. They ain't gonna sound like the Bronx. But we got that same idea mentality. We could relate. But as we got more money in and it expanded, especially with computers, now kids are going on the internet and, you know, ASAP and them, they had the drill. I mean, the screwed sound, which was dope to do, but it was like, all right, we tampering with this and with that because they had the internet to find out about it and tamper with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we loved bunning them. Like, I loved UGK. I loved Outkast. It was certain things I did, but I wasn't seeing how they was living every day. I heard their music. I bumped into them when I seen them, but I didn't know about their lifestyle. Now you can get on the internet and see the whole, whatever region you name's lifestyle.
And you can also see how people are living relationship-wise.
Yeah.
And you've been so open with that. And then I think it's really allowed other people to feel like, okay, it's safe for me to go on TV and show my wife and show things we're going through. Like, I've been watching Nori and Neri, you know, on marriage boot camp and all of that. So,
I mean, as an artist, you got to know when you got to, you know, for a lot of things. My wake-up call was early because, like you said, I kept getting in trouble. So for me, you know, I was fortunate enough to have enough bad things happening to me to say, I got to balance this out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had a reason to go, all right, you know, when you're in jail, you kind of know what really becomes important to you now. It's more important to look fly and stun or really make sure my family's okay and give my son an example of, like, what a man should do. Like, I started wanting my son to view me as more than a rapper. Like, I know that I'm smarter than just, you know, not that there's nothing wrong with being just a rapper, but I kind of wanted him to see me as a black man, understand what he has to do in society as a black man, and I kind of started overweighing, like, you know, I gotta look like I got the most bitches and this and that. Like, you know, that shit ain't gonna help, pardon my French, but it ain't gonna help your family in the long run.
You think because they shut New York down, I feel like there was a time where like when I go to these other cities, I see people hanging out, they're having a good time, but New York, we didn't have that after a while. Like, there was the Grand Tomb, 125th Street. You go to Jamaica Avenue. We had that. But then it seemed like all that got shut down and pushed away.
Tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnel. Yeah, there was so many different places where we could go out. But now it's like nowhere. So it's like you had to go out of town. You went to Atlanta. You went to Philly. You went to Cali. You went to Miami.
I think because you're right exactly what you're saying, but New York is the Mecca, so we started all of that. So everybody got to see what was happening and get to, you know, capitalize off of it, which was the hip hop great thing to do. But at the same time, you got to think the powers that be who didn't want to see hip hop keep growing like that, where you're going to shut down first, the home of it. Right. You know what I mean? So all these other places you naming didn't have to do. How many times? Look,
to this day, we still got to deal with New York.
How many times you been harassed by hip hop cops back then?
Come on now.
It was more than I could name back then. Like it was like weekly.
I don't even think y'all perform in the city.
Yeah, I'm going to the club. Going here. I'm either get harassed by the hip hop cops walking in and walking out. So much to the point where I have a good relationship with most of them now. I see them, they be like, "What's up, guys? How you doing? We love Juicy for life." Like, you know what I mean? It's like I walk in places now with the old people. They be like, "Let him right in." Like I had that many problems.
Aren't they doing a show about the hip hop?
Yeah, and it would. It's because it's crazy. It's like, so I don't think a lot of places really had to deal with that. And New York is New York, man. Like, you know what I mean? And one, the artists of New York, like I always say, like watching the verses, KRS helped move Kane in his building.
Right.
Me and they was friends. They never did a song. Out of all of the greats, you can only say Kane and Coogee rappers on a symphony together. There are no Rakim, KRS songs. There are no Rakim, Coogee rap. They didn't do that. Like, we come from a competitive place. Like, and the South did the smart thing and say, all right, we doing this. And in the 90s, we kind of opened that up too. East Coast rappers with Rough Riders, Rockefeller, you know, us, Queensbridge, you start seeing people mixing and meshing, but the South did it smart and really used their lifestyle and just implementing it in the music, and that's more of their natural organic lifestyle as to where it's not more of our natural organic lifestyle.
Do you think it's also too because a lot of New York artists moved away from the New York sound? Like even like 50, you think about Get Rich or Die Trying, big album from a New York artist, but it was Dre and you know the West Coast producers.
I think it was produced well, and he kept in New York, so I don't think it was that because you felt like it was a New York album. When you heard 50, everything he was putting out felt New York. I felt like that was the last run of I'm proud to be from New York. 50 Cent was the last run of I love my city, I'm proud to be from here. I think it's spurts of it here and there with the young.
It was the mixtape right because it was G Unit and then it was D Block.
And I think Griselda brings that feeling back, but you know, they're not from the immediate city where everybody could touch and see them and it could expand more. But I think it's just a sound you got to be proud of and a lifestyle you got to kind of know about. And, you know, and that's pretty much it.
Havoc, you had some memorable tunnel nights.
Crazy.
Oh, too many memorable nights. But I used to love to go to the tunnel, man. You know, sometimes I used to just go there by myself. Like, and just, you know, hang out and chill and just get that vibe. So I could just go back home and just make some crazy beats, you know what I mean? And I miss that, you know what I'm saying? Going out and just seeing what's going on.
I used to go there at 7 p.m.
Yep.
That's how
you had to wait online down the block.
At 7 p.m. to get there.
And this what the mob, you asked what the mob mean to us, like in our crew and Yonkers, it was a thing too before anybody got on, right when we were trying to get on. You know, we hustling, we working, everybody's doing everything, but you got to get your fit right for Sunday to go to the tunnel.
That's right.
And you're telling your man, the line was, I hit my man on the phone, tunnel banging, come get me. That was it. That's why everybody knew we out.
And Mobb Deep was on Loud. And Mobb Deep was on Loud Records. And Loud Records has so much presence in the tunnel.
And also Chris Lighty was like, you know what I mean? Him and Jessica was at the door, so you know we was getting in like nothing.
God bless Chris.
They wasn't making you go through the metal detector and
none of that. It was horrible. It was bad. Something could have really bad.
Did you ever have any incidents in there?
Me personally, nah, I never had no. Luckily, you know what I'm saying. I always, you know, by the time I left, you know, the next morning, I'd be like, yo, you ain't hear what happened? Like 4 people got shot. I'm like,
we used to stay till they started playing house music at the end. That's how
get out of here.
That's how long I used to be in that tunnel.
They had the first co-ed bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom. They had a champagne bar in the bathroom.
Big Cap and Cypher Sounds just DJ'd up the bathroom.
That sounds so crazy. I DJ in the bathroom.
DJs in the bathroom.
The DJ was like DJ in the bathroom.
It was like a lounge in there. People,
it was lit.
And I remember the security used to have sex with people in the bathroom.
Yeah, it was a real wild place.
It was wild.
Those were wild days, man.
There's nothing like it.
No, nothing. I don't think they will ever be able to emulate that.
Never.
That's good,
Anyway,
though, right?
yeah.
To a certain extent.
I mean, sometimes things have to be bad for things to be good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, sometimes.
But there were so
Like
many memorable things.
even church people, sometimes you need the spicy reverend. Like church people don't want the boring
Like
reverend.
Pastor
They want
Michael Todd.
Also, like the Michael Todd who spit on his hand and wiped it on the.
That was crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy.
We had a discussion about that this morning, though, because I'm like, yo, he was mimicking this scripture from the Bible where Jesus spit in the blind man's eye that made him see. So can
Was
you?
dude blind?
No.
Nah.
I'm good.
He was bald.
I mean, but you know, like you say, I think one thing is really hard to judge other people on or their beliefs is religion and religion and politics. I think you have to respect how people feel. If dude was comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it. Like pastor was comfortable, reverend, whoever he was, dude was comfortable with it. Was the congregation comfortable with it?
Nah, they was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I heard a little,
yeah.
but I guess he wanted to get his message across, and he felt, maybe that was more connected to Jesus showing the example. And a lot of passages happening right now, Pastor, and but, I mean, but I don't know. When it comes to religion and politics, I try to just not. The older I get now, dub deuce.
You can't win or convince anybody.
You do what you got to do. If it worked for y'all, I'm cool.
I do like to ask questions though, because I'm like, okay, so if you're canceling people for that behavior, would you cancel Jesus?
See, this is
the Bible?
This is. I think the cancel culture is one of the dumbest cultures ever. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you look at it. It's two cultures that just can't coincide. The mental health culture and the cancel culture. If you're going to cancel somebody, like a lot of people say, people have mental health issues. Did you think about their mental health issues before you canceled them? Did you say this person might have went and did this particular act because they have some sort of, temporary, permanent, spur of the moment, but something in their mind happened. And I think it's easier for people to just cancel people because they don't have the understanding of what compassion and empathy and non-judging really means. Like, you got to sometimes look at your own life and your own wrongs before you kind of really judge anybody and just fall back and say, it'll be what it is. It's great, like you say, I believe in asking questions, but without the judgment. Because if you're going to cancel him, did you ask him why he did it? Maybe he felt like nobody's connected to Jesus no more. Maybe he felt like nobody's connected to the scriptures. Maybe he's sitting in his house losing his mind all month, figuring out how do I get the people to connect or pay attention to what I'm doing. And maybe he came up with the wrong idea. And maybe that's not worth canceling them for. Maybe that's worth asking them questions for.
Well, it worked. A lot of people paid attention after that, though. I will say that if no one was paying attention.
We don't cancel none of the right people neither. So cancel culture is full of shit. Cancel the president. Start canceling the right stuff, man. You want to cancel something, cancel milk.
Let's get into it.
Hold on, wait.
Cancel racism. Start canceling the right
I
shit,
agree.
man.
Do you all wish y'all would have done things like this sooner in your career? And if so, like what prevented that? Like this coming together. Collabs.
Yeah, I always thought of that. I was like, damn, why we never did this before? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, back in the days, like, whoever, like, me do an album with Meth or Raekwon or, things of that nature. Like,
that's what this new generation does a lot. They do collaborations.
That's so dope.
Yeah, that's dope to me.
I may be one of the starters of that.
You are.
Like, I don't like to throw my stuff. I don't get a lot of credit for a lot. I told Kiss the other day, I think I brought design and fashion to hip hop and never got the credit.
When'd you do that?
The Burberry bucket. Nobody even knew about Burberry or exotic clothes. It was the Knock Yourself Out video or one of them. Had a Burberry bucket.
I don't want to know styles for fashion.
Me neither, but I'm just saying.
I don't want you.
No, I'm just saying you do a lot of things that you never get the credit for.
But it's probably easier to do these collabs now, too. Just because of how you can even put music out.
You should do the
collabs.
You should do the collabs because a lot of artists don't understand. As a businessman, you're more than just an artist. You become a brand. Start thinking about marketing and promoting your brand in different ways and getting to other people's fan base that you might not be connecting with and doing dope things that's creative out there that highlights you not just as an artist but as a businessman for other brands that look at how brands move.
Because I think about a record like Last Day and I'm like, damn, what if Big and the Lox would have did more records with it.
We were supposed to do the commission.
What you mean?
The commission would have been Big, us, Hove,
And Charlie Baltimore, right? I think
the commission would have been lit.
Wow.
And that, like, you know what I mean?
I never did one record.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
Are you guys gonna go on tour or anything for this?
BR, God bless Black Rob.
Oh, Black Rob was in the commission too?
Wow.
Speaking of tour, we got a show in Florida in like 4 days.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, yes, sir.
What part of Florida?
Fort Lauderdale. I go
Fort
to.
Lauderdale.
Like, yep, yeah. Go book my flight as soon as I leave here. Man.
Being that you guys are veterans, are you still open to growing and learning more than just the art of hip hop?
I think you have to do that as an MC, period, or you're not a veteran. I think you, like, I'm a craftsman, so I don't think anyone's in a craft where they, even when you master a craft, you try to master it more, learn more things. Life is about growing, so music exactly kind of ties in with what's going on with your life, so there's no way you could think you've learned enough to the day you quit. Like, you know what I mean? Even when I quit, I'm pretty sure I could have learned and been better or done something to make myself better, but you just get up every day and crack at it, do the best you can, and I think if you respect the craft, it respects you back, but I think a lot of people fall off of that if you want to really be really honest. Dudes start thinking they're super dope, then they get lazy, don't do no work, and then there's another dude with fire that's hungry right there. Now you don't got more fire than him. Now you can't even get in your zone. Now you're not here no more. I've seen it happen to a lot.
What about you, Hal?
Me personally, I love what the young generation is doing now, and I'm always like, just watching YouTube or watching interviews to see how they do what they do. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the stuff they do to me is amazing. So I really just, want to just figure out how they doing it, because it just they make stuff look like a miracle. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm like, how they doing this and how they getting the music here, and just next thing you know, they just creating a whole universe. So I love music. I'm a fan of music, always will be. And I will always love every generation of music that comes out preceding me.
Is there a young MC you would want to do a project with? Like, I love what Hit Boy and Nas are doing, right? Because you can tell that's a young producer who came up on Nas, so he really understands Nas. You as an OG, is there like a young dude you watching like, man, if I gave him this, it would be something special?
It's really hard to say, but I got a lot of young artists in mind, but you'll probably see something, you know what I'm saying, come from those thoughts that's in my mind, for sure.
Well, let's play something off the album. What y'all want to hear?
Do Move How We Wanna.
Yeah, move how we want to move.
Move how we want to move.
There we go. Well, Wreckage Manor, we appreciate you for joining us. Havoc, Styles P.
Thank
No doubt.
you.
And it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.